But just do it. Like, you've got dreams, you've got passions, you've got ideas. Just do it. Nothing's holding you back but yourself. Just go out and do it. But because I travel so much and travel so well, and I post about it so people can see it, companies are hitting me up all the time that I've never heard of, never done any marketing for. And I just light bulb just went off. Like, wait a second. That's what I need to be doing. I need to be setting up itineraries for people. I need to be helping people find the coolest stuff to do when they visit a location, because it's something I have a knack for. It's something I have a passion for. It's something I've done for years. But we do have over 3,000 downloads, and I haven't even done any, I haven't spent a dime in marketing yet. We want to be the ultimate place to go to know what to do, see, eat, and experience when you travel.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. I am so excited for today's episode. We have Sean Bingham with us. Sean is a serial entrepreneur. He's done so many different things. He started off kind of in sales, and he just worked his way into business, and he's had a lot of success. And today he's going to tell us about himself, about his current ventures, and his new launch of his brand new company that is going to revolutionize travel all over the world. So Sean, welcome to the Mikey Martin Show.
Thank you. I'm very honored to be here. This is super fun, and it's been nice getting to know you briefly. And I'm excited to be here, man. So let's do it.
Love it, Sean. Tell everybody about yourself really quick. What's your name? What's your mission? What's your life for, and where are you headed? Where are you at?
Yeah. So my name is Sean Bingham, and you covered some things really well. But things that describe me, that define who I am. I'm a sports junkie. I love sports. I actually have a podcast of my own, believe it or not. I have about 7 people that listen to it. But it's all about sports. It's just me sitting talking about sports. So I love sports. I love travel. This podcast, by the way, I'm going to do a shameless plug. It's STB Sports Take, or Simply the Best Sports Podcast. YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all of them.
We'll have it in the links below, guys. Go check it out. We need to get him to 8 and then 9 and 10.
Yeah. No, I don't have a ton of listeners, probably 100 and something, but it's just me. Sure. So if you're into sports, you might like it. But yeah, so that's like my probably my first love, honestly, is sports. And at one point in time, I realized I probably wasn't athletic enough to be in the NBA, so maybe I should try and get paid to talk about sports. And so that was actually my major in college, was broadcast journalism. And then you realize there's not a ton of money in it, so I went into entrepreneurship, and this is how we're here now. So but it's a fun hobby. I love doing that. So I'm a big travel guy. I've been to over 50 countries. I'm gone. I actually have a list running each year. I'm gone about 35% of the time away from home, which is pretty significant.
Totally.
Yeah, so I'm launching Tripio, which is all about travel. I'm sure we'll get into that. Family man, not that I have my own family, but I love my family. I'm a spiritual guy, religious guy, very social guy. I'm all about relationships and experiences and moments. And my mission, is like really to live life to the fullest. Nice. And I want to be that guy where people just look at you and think, man, that guy just has it going, has it made. And not because you're rich, but because you're not rich monetarily, although that's nice, but rich like in moments and in experiences and in life, so yeah.
How cool, dude. So excited to have you on the show. Guys, today we're going to talk about a little bit about Sean's journey and just kind of how he gained momentum through his goals, how he actually got from, working for other people to working for himself, and actually creating a traveling company right at the beginning of COVID and all the way going through COVID, just so that the world can be better as soon as you guys are all back out and going. So this is really exciting. Sean, so what you said you did, your major was in broadcasting. Yep. And everything. And then how long after college did it take for you to get into your first venture?
Pretty quick. So I went into sales. So most guys, in Provo, where I went to school, I went to BYU. Most people were doing the summer sales thing during college, and that was like what they would do, in the summers, and then they'd go back to school. I never really got into it. It wasn't really something that it did appeal to me, but like I really wanted to just have fun in the summer and stuff and work other jobs. And anyway, so I didn't start doing summer sales, door-to-door sales, until after I graduated. And my first job offer, this is a true story, my first job offer in broadcast journalism out of college, I got offered to be the sports director for the CBS affiliate in Rapid City, South Dakota. Whoa. And the salary was $18,500 a year.
Nice. And you were probably jumping out of your seat, excited, right?
Yeah. they had like a $1,500 per year like allotment on top of that for clothes, like for wardrobe, so you could like look good on camera, you know. So technically, I guess 20 grand a year. This was 2006. This was in 2006. I'm 41 years old, for those wondering. So 2006, and I'm just like, I don't think I'm gonna do this. Like, I don't want to go cover junior high volleyball for the next 2 years. I want to talk about the NBA and the NFL, and like that might be a decade away if I ever get there, because all the new jobs are going to former athletes. And I just kind of saw these different things that were evolving. At the time, newspaper had like already died its death. Radio and TV seemed to be next. And so I just was like, I don't think I'm gonna do that. So I went into sales, did the door-to-door thing, just thought I'm gonna do this for a summer, see how it goes. Ended up making more money per month that summer than I was offered for the entire year at that other company. And so I was like, I'm gonna do this again. So I did it. I ended up doing it 4 more summers, and was always kind of doing entrepreneurial ventures along the way. You know, I would throw these parties in town. You know, I was in like my late 20s, I'm 27, 28. And I'm a very social guy, still single. And I realized, you know what, people don't really have a place to party here in Utah County, but they all want to. And none of them drink, and a lot of them are underage anyway, so they couldn't get into clubs if there were one. I'm going to create a club, but I was just rent a venue for a night, and we would sell like 2,000 tickets. I remember first night we made like $19,000, you know, just throwing a party and charging people $15 to get in.
Now you're making more than you would in a year in a night.
Night, yeah. I actually never thought about that. Because this was like 3 years after I turned that down. But yeah, like, so I was doing little entrepreneurial things like that, but always going back to doing door-to-door sales. And then I eventually in 2010 started a company with my brother called Top Blip. We changed the name later to Gig, Gigg. And it was basically an American Idol online. We would do music competitions. People would upload videos, and you could go on and vote online. And if you won the competition, you got to open for a major band that we had partnered with. So we would partner with people like Andy Grammer, all the way up to Maroon 5 at one point, Stadium of Fire, which is a big 4th of July celebration in Utah County in front of 50,000 people. You got to perform, you got to play on stage, and you get a $10,000 check presented to you on stage. So it was really cool, kind of online American Idol. We eventually sold that company after running it for 2.5 years. And I launched a company called KZ, which was a sunglasses brand. We did kind of unique sunglasses, interchangeable sidearms, floatable sunglasses. So if you're like going to the beach or the lake or the pool, you're not going to lose them. Ran that for 4 years, sold it to a private equity group out of Cleveland, which was a really cool thing. And so I'd gotten a base hit with the online American Idol, was able to sell it for a decent amount of money, was able to sell this one for a little bit more. And then I moved on and started something called Adventure Hunt, which was basically, it's kind of like a mini Amazing Race, if people have seen that TV show.
Right.
Scavenger hunt, treasure hunt. And so we have 2 things that we do there. One would be a public event where you would pay a participation fee to sign up, like a Tough Mudder or a color run, kind of coming through your city on a Saturday morning. You go with your friends and participate in this funny activity. And then the other thing is a team building event for companies where we take people out of the office and run an event on location somewhere. And when COVID hit, we just took a huge hit there. We were on Shark Tank for that company, got a deal with Robert Herjavec. And when COVID hit, we had to shut a lot of things down because you can't do big group activities for a while.
I think you kind of breezed over something there. Like, you got a deal on Shark Tank. I think everybody listening to this was like, wait, what? Like, this guy was like selling sunglasses a second ago, and now he's on Shark Tank.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I hope everybody listening to this, I don't mean to cut you off, but like,
no, dude,
I hope they're catching this. Because the thing is, it's like, if you guys look at the momentum in his life, look at Sean's life. Sean went and he knocked doors for 4 years. He got a skill set. The dude learned sales. He learned confidence. He learned that it's a numbers game. The more people you talk to, the more you're going to sell. The better you get at selling, the less people you need to talk to. Yeah. And then he goes on, he makes his own company. He learns how to get feedback from people, how to find out how they're thinking. He gets this skill set that he takes into a company. And then after getting a little momentum and a good win, he's got all the confidence in the world. And now that he's got that confidence and some money in the bank, he can take more risks. Yeah. And he gets all these things that start stacking in his favor to where he's opening up company after company after company. to where he's like, yeah, Shark Tank, like, why not? Why
Yeah,
not?
yeah.
You know,
The
guys,
Shark Tank thing
only
was,
getting bigger from here. The story goes on.
yeah, yeah. No, and each one has gotten a little bit better. It's like anything in life. Like you just put in the hours and you just keep getting better and better and better. And so I definitely have gotten better and better and better at entrepreneurship. I think back to how much time and energy we spent on that music company to make, we really didn't generate revenue. What we did generate though was tons of users, tons of popularity, tons of web traffic. And that's how we were able to sell it for a pretty good amount of money. But
Sure.
now like my companies will actually generate revenue, which is
Right.
just awesome. But yeah, so
Feels
Shark
good.
Tank, the Shark Tank thing was cool. Like we had started Adventure Hunt as a marketing event for the sunglasses brand. So we did this fun treasure hunt as a way to promote our sunglasses. And it went so well, I was like, this should be its own company and we should charge people. So the first year with Adventure Hunt, we're still running KZ, the sunglasses brand, but KZ was just the lead sponsor of this Adventure Hunt company, which was really our company as well, you know?
Totally.
And it went so well there again that we thought, you know what, let's just sell the sunglasses brand and focus on this. And so we did that. And we had tried to get on Shark Tank for the sunglasses brand.
Oh, really?
Really, really close, but didn't quite make it. So this is the power of social media. I simply post to Instagram, hey, sold my sunglasses brand, KZ, going to focus now on Adventure Hunt. You've probably seen me post a little bit about it. And so all of a sudden the head of casting for Shark Tank DMs me on Instagram and says, hey, congrats on selling KZ. I love your new business. We'd love to have you on the show. You don't even have to audition or whatever, you know, apply.
You are kidding. Guys,
So,
this
yeah.
is it. You start thinking like, oh, we tried, we applied. Oh, they didn't want us. Like, we're done.
Yeah.
If he hadn't done that, you think they would have DM'd him? Like, no way. And if he hadn't come out with something else, and I'm just going to throw out there, guys, if you want momentum in your goals, it has to be with other people. You're not going to change the world on your own. He wouldn't have gotten an opportunity to be on Shark Tank if it wasn't for someone else DMing him. But the thing is, it's like, if he hadn't gone and said, guys, look at the success I'm having. And I'm not saying fake it. I mean, we're all about, you know, everybody getting on social media nowadays and they're all trying to fake it and make it look like they're successful. But it's like, guys, when you actually have some good success, post about it. Let people know things are happening. People are attracted to that. They want to stay around you when they see you're moving.
Yep. Yeah. And I would say there's nothing wrong. I mean, bragging is one thing, but just being proud of like
Totally
cool progress in your life. There's nothing wrong with that. Like you should be proud of like cool progress that you're making, and it's okay to share it. I think the way you share it can, you know, something people sometimes can rub others the wrong way. But I think if you're just humbly being excited about progress, I think that's okay.
Sean, who was the first person you told that Shark Tank DM'd you?
My brother, Jared, who I was partners with.
Right. You just like text him and you're like, hey, guess what happened?
I'm like, dude, remember when we, you know, so yeah, he was stoked. In fact, I remember when it happened, we were in Salt Lake, downtown Salt Lake City, planning out one of our adventure hunts for that area, kind of mapping out the different places that participants were going to have to run around to and do these challenges.
Heck yeah.
And I just showed him my phone. I'm like, dude, check it out. So yeah, kind of cool.
So sick. I love that. You're in the middle of business and you're just like, oh, awesome. That's sweet. So you went on Shark Tank. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Tell them about that. Or you went to Shark Tank, you made a deal.
So it was pretty awesome. You're sitting there for 2-3 days, just like agonizing.
So
like,
long, right?
When's it our turn? And, you know, I'm just like rehearsing things in the hotel room, going over numbers. I knew we were going to get offers. I don't mean that arrogantly, but I'd watch the show and I was like, I know that I pitch well. I know that I can speak well. I know that our numbers are way better than most people's numbers when they go in. Right. Our valuation is very realistic and our idea is like fun and unique. I just had no question in my mind, no doubt that we were going to get offers. I just wanted to make sure that we, you know,
it's Kobe Bryant. It's that confidence comes from preparation.
Yeah.
He's sitting here going, dude, I know I can pitch. Like that will not be the issue. Like, because he's got a skill set. He's done this 1,000 times.
Yeah. And it matters. You know, we sat in our hotel room. I remember, you know, we took some people with us to kind of help be like actors or models on set, you know, to demonstrate some things. Nice. And they wanted to go explore LA. And I was like, I tried to for a couple hours and I was like, I I'm not here to do that. I'm here to close the deal on Shark Tanks. I'm going to go back to the hotel room and just study and
Good.
rehearse and be ready, you know?
Nice.
And so it was pretty cool. Like, so, and there was never a moment where there was never like an aha, we stumped you moment, like you see on the show sometimes. Like that never happened to us. It was nothing but laughter and good times, and that's impressive and wow, cool from start to finish. We got an offer really early from Bethany Frankel. She was the guest shark, like the guest host, you know, for that episode. And then we got an offer as well from Robert Hershevik. We ultimately did a deal with Robert. And we still work with him to this day, and it's awesome.
So cool.
Yeah.
So cool. So once you guys worked with Robert, I know you're not really doing so much that company anymore. You decided to do Tripio.
Yeah.
But there was kind of a moment you were questioning it, wasn't there?
Yeah. So I still own Adventure Hunt, and I'm still involved, but we've hired people to kind of run it.
Running.
You know? Yeah.
Good.
And so, yeah, so it's a nice lady. She's actually a pretty good friend of mine. She won one of our first adventure hunts. And if you won the adventure hunt in your city, you got this trip to Panama with us. And so I met her in Panama in like 2016. And she's like, hey, if you guys need help, let me know, you know? And so we hired her, and she ran events for us, you know, as needed for the last 5 years. And then about a year ago, we were like, how about you just like run all of them? And if you need help, you know, here are the people that, you know, we've contracted with, and how about you just do everything, you know? And so that's what we're currently doing. It's working really well.
Well, and that's kind of a lesson in momentum too, guys. You might be pushing. She's doing it for 5 years, and I'm sure she was growing and getting other benefits and things.
Yeah, and she had other. It was like a side gig for her, right? She still had like a full-time job. So,
and you see that it's just like suddenly, like, guys, if you push, you keep pushing against the same wall, like eventually it falls down. There's something great on the other side.
Yeah,
like people love working with you when you're consistent, when you show up and you put in effort. It's like it's a great way to get places.
Yep.
So that's awesome. So you hired her to run everything.
Yeah. So she kind of, I mean, me and my brother Jared, we still, you know, have an hour or two each week of stuff that we do. But it's getting smoother and smoother with her running things. So and hopefully we can kind of scale back up again, because it's still pretty slow right now from the pandemic reset.
Right.
But a lot of that's been by choice, where I've moved on to Tripio full time. My brother moved on to some other things full time as well. So there's been a little bit of downtime, just transitioning, but we still do events. We've done a corporate event each month for the last, I don't know, bunch of months. So there's still like revenue coming in. We're still doing business. We've built out this cool software to create your own hunt, so we can basically, it's like AI, right? We can replace us with technology. And so if you're someone wanting to run a team building event for your company, and you've found us on Google, well, instead of paying 10 grand to hire us to come and do it in person, you can pay 2 grand, use our technology, and do it yourself.
Right.
And so that's also been really cool to have see people doing it on their own. So
cool.
Yeah. So between the technology advancements, I should have made more mention of that. Between the technology advancements that we've made, and then hiring her, we've been able to step back quite a bit from day-to-day operations, you know, which has been cool. So
that's such a cool step too, guys. Guys, recognize that in the end, you want to be like this. You want to be a business owner. You don't want to be self-employed. Like, you want to build it, you want to grow it, but then you got to be building up other leaders to take over, so you got more good to give to the world.
Yeah.
So that's sweet. So you started Tripio.
Yep.
And it's been a couple of years you've been working on it.
Yeah. So I've been working on it for about 2.5 years, full time for about 2 of those. And it's an app that just helps people travel better. You go in and you set your preferences. You tell us on a scale of 1 to 5, how into adventure are you? How into art, history, culture are you? How into good eats or nightlife or family friendly stuff? And then we will deliver to you through some really cool technology that's got a provisional patent on it. We give you a customized list of the top things to do in that area for you based on your preferences. And then we'll even give you an itinerary of how to efficiently go and accomplish these things in the time that you've told us you have available. You know, so if you said, hey, look, I've only got a half day, here are my preferences, we'll be like, boom, here's how you should spend your 4 hours.
So cool.
So we're reading like a lot of cool things in the background, like what time of year is it? Because if you're in Salt Lake City and you tell us you're into adventure, but it's July, we're probably not going to tell you to go skiing. We're going to tell you to go on a hike or go rock climbing in a certain spot. And if you're here in January, we tell you to go skiing, so there's a lot of cool things it reads, and it's been pretty awesome. Like you can share itineraries with friends. So instead of like having to text them all this stuff when they message you and say, hey, your trip to Hawaii looks so amazing, like will you send me everything you did? Now you can just tap a button and send them a link, and it's like, boom, here's everything I did. And everything any question you would ever have for me, it's already answered in that link. So just go check it out,
John, this
really
thing
cool
sounds
stuff.
like it's going to change the world.
I really believe it'll be the coolest thing that's hit the travel industry in a long, long time. We're like super excited. We just went live in the App Store a month or two ago. Very, very soft launch. We haven't even really done any marketing yet. But we do have over 3,000 downloads, and I haven't even I haven't spent a dime in marketing yet. I haven't even announced it on my personal channels yet, for social media. Because we're just ironing out kinks, seeing how it works when it's live with like people, hundreds of people, thousands of people using it. And, there's lots of cool things we're learning, making some improvements, doing some scalability, things, putting some things in places. But we'll be marketing heavy here pretty soon, probably in the next month or so.
So cool. How big is your team?
So we have, I call them the gurus. They're like the travel experts, the Tripio gurus. They're the writers, the researchers. They're the ones putting all the data into the app. Also writing blogs and things like that. It'll bring in traffic to the app, bring in downloads. But I have 7 of them, and that's always growing, especially from a freelance perspective. And then I have, there's 5 people on the development team, and then 2 people on the design team. So there's like 14 of us, but everyone's contracted right now. Like none of them are official employees, but I'm paying them every week. So they pretty much are employees, but I just have them all on 1099 agreements so that, they have a lot of freedom and flexibility, but I also do too,
I love it. Dude, okay, John, this has been sick. I mean, there's so much. I mean, there's so much. I'm kind of a geek with entrepreneurship. So this is like, for me, I'm having too much fun. I want to know though, kind of your more personal side. Has there been a time in business where like, you were kind of like, how are we ever going to get out of this? Like,
yeah, like every other day.
Did you maybe deal with it?
It's that I'll tell you, for those, I'll say first off, entrepreneurship isn't for everybody. There's no shame in having a job that pays well and is, stable. And there's no shame in that at all. There's times I wish I had that.
Totally.
Ultimately, I personally value freedom and time and autonomy, a little bit more than maybe the average person does. And so I enjoy entrepreneurship. It doesn't really ever go to sleep. I go on vacation and I kind of think about work, more than someone who just took the week off.
Right.
So there's a lot of days where I feel the way you just described. There's times where major shifts happen. Like one I can think of with Adventure Hunt was we were doing a lot of influencer marketing before it was mega popular, and we were getting like 12-to-1 returns on our dollars. Wow. If I spent $1 on an influencer, I would expect to see like $10 to $12 come back. Right.
Awesome.
It was like, and you're just like, okay, how much, at what level is this going to, not be 10x return, 12x?
We just keep throwing in the money.
Yeah. Like how much money can I pour into this and see how much comes back?
Right.
And it did eventually the well started to run dry. So we shifted over to more traditional online marketing with social media, where you just pay for an ad on Instagram or Facebook. Totally. And that gave us about 4-to-1 return, which is still really good. And that started to run dry. And I was like, what are we going to do? Like these things just all of our methods aren't working. And that's when we pushed hard to do corporate events. And all of a sudden our profitability skyrocketed, and so you just have to be constantly evolving, constantly being aware of trends and keeping up with trends and trying to stay ahead of a curve. And so we've had tons of moments where I was like, I don't know what we're going to freaking do. And you just find a way, like you just find a way to make things happen.
Guys, I think that's one of the coolest things. I also want to point out the trends thing, actually. The fact that, we heard from the very beginning, Sean was like, I don't know, I wanted to go into broadcasting, but then I started noticing trends, other players are getting the gig instead of, people with a degree, and like other things where he knew early on, he could see where that was going to head, and he pivots. Like, I think that is so smart with Tripio. He knows people love to travel now. Flights are getting cheaper. Airbnb exists. There's a million ways to travel now. Yeah. He's he's jumping in on a trend, and
Well,
he's
and,
capitalized
and
big.
social media has made people want to travel like never before. You see pictures and videos of places on your phone every day, and it just makes you want to get out and experience it
I've
yourself.
got a list. It's called Places.
Yeah.
I want to hit them all before I die, and I'm probably
Yeah.
gonna end up using Tripio for all of them now.
Yeah. No, like for real. I mean, and that's our goal, is like we want to be the ultimate place to go to know what to do, see, eat, and experience when you travel. You know,
Totally.
we'll let Kayak and Google Flights and all those handle your airfare. We'll let hotels.com and Airbnb handle your accommodations. But when you're figuring out what you want to do when you're there, I really believe that Tripio is the best resource out there. I do.
Did it take you a long time to actually figure out what problem you were solving and like what kind of product you were offering? I feel like it's kind of the idea that you could almost come up with like that. It's just that moment of clarity.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a moment. So I'd been thinking for a while about how to do it, but there was a moment. I was in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I was setting up one of our adventure hunts down there. And Albuquerque, for those that have been, it's not the most exciting place in the world. And so I had kind of struggled to find like the ideal route for this adventure hunt.
Sure.
And I remember after 3 hard days of, 16-hour days, hard work, figuring this out, I finished and I was like, I had just tested the entire hunt on our app, because Adventure Hunt also has an app where you kind of go from clue to clue, and it's almost like geocaching. Anyway, so I just tested the app. It worked well. Everything was done. And I was like relieved. And I was like, I actually said out loud to myself in this like old town square, I was like, Albuquerque isn't my favorite place, but anyone, that's actually not what I said. I said it sucks, which I apologize for. Albuquerque sure sucks, but anybody who comes here, I just set up a pretty cool itinerary for them. And this light bulb just went off, like, wait a second, that's what I need to be doing. I need to be setting up itineraries for people. I need to be helping people find the coolest stuff to do when they visit a location, because it's something I have a knack for. It's something I have a passion for. It's something I've done for years. Quick story, and I know we've only got a few minutes, but
sure.
For those that don't know, GoPro was started by a diehard surfer who simply wanted to get a cool shot of himself surfing in the tube, right? Like in the barrel of the wave.
Totally.
And he worked hard to figure out a way to get a camera to do that. And next thing you know, he's got a multi-billion-dollar company called GoPro. And so if you follow your passions, things will just like all of a sudden happen. Another thing that we do as part of Tripio is I take companies on their corporate retreats, their sales incentive trips. I do about 8 a year. There's actually a higher demand than I have time for.
Wow.
But because I travel so much and travel so well, and I post about it so people can see it, companies are hitting me up all the time that I've never heard of, never done any marketing for. And I just get messages saying, hey, we heard about your trips. We want you to plan our next trip for 50 people. So I'm taking groups of 50, 20, 30, 100 to these different cool locations and just showing them how to have a good time. So if you follow your passions, good things will happen.
Guys, and it can happen. Like you've seen the Bucket List family. We actually met them anyway, but guys, there are people who are doing this kind of stuff, but you got to be hardworking, guys. Recognize that like all of his most recent ventures, all of Sean's most recent ventures. Whether it's, what was it? Adventure? Sorry, I'm
Adventure Hunts.
Adventure Hunts. Hunts came up because it was a way to get his other company, a lot of more eyes, you know. And then while he's doing an Adventure Hunt, he's getting the idea for Tripio.
Yeah.
Are you guys seeing a trend here? Like the guy works hard, plays hard, and then he comes up with his next idea, and he's smart enough to say, I can do it. He's smart enough to say there's a way, and then he leans on people with other skills to actually get it done professionally.
Yeah. Yep.
You can have a job. It's cool. It's fine, guys. It's cool. But I'm just telling you, like, this is the way that, anyway, this is how my life goes. I love this stuff.
Yeah.
So, anyway, Sean, I want to ask you 2 questions. Oh, sorry. You can comment, but we only got a few minutes.
No, go ahead.
I want to ask you 2 questions. 2 questions before I let you go.
Okay.
And then, guys, remember, go follow Sean. Go follow Tripio. Download the app. We're going to have all of his links below to his podcast, to everything. So go follow him. He's the coolest guy. And anyway, I want to ask you 2 questions. You got I don't know, quick answers, whatever comes to mind. But the first question is, I want to know what's a big lesson that you're learning in your life right now? Because I feel like everybody's always learning something, some big lessons hitting them. What's your big lesson that you're learning? And then number two is, if everybody in the world was going to see this, like, what would your message be for them? So first off, what's your lesson you're learning?
Yeah, big lesson I'm learning right now is something you've touched on, but you just can't do it alone, right? Like, and I'm learning now as I'm scaling bigger and bigger, like, because my companies have always been small, and Tripio is still obviously in the small business category, but you have to rely on other people. You have to hire well. You have to train well. You have to fire well. You can't do it alone.
Totally.
And so plan on being good at working with people, because that's going to be really, really important. And then with regards to your second question, what was it? If I had a message for everybody,
if everybody in the world was going to see this, what would you want to tell them?
Yeah. I steal this from Nike all the time. Nike. But just do it. Like, you've got dreams, you've got passions, you've got ideas. Just do it. Nothing's holding you back but yourself. Just go out and do it.
Totally. I love it, dude. Sean, thank you for being on the podcast, man. We're going to have you hopefully we'll have you on my other podcast, Master Cash, to talk about money. I mean, or any of these other ones. You're a spiritual guy. We could have you on His Empowering Love. We've got a couple. So You're an awesome guy. Guys, go follow him, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Awesome. Thanks, dude.